Hey everyone, it's Ollie. I figured we would start the second video in the student hat series. I don't really know what else to say other than let's dive into it. So this is Clearing Words from 23rd of March 1978, revised November 14th, 1979. This actually cancels what appears to be word clearing errors. I guess that was another policy, or bulletin that he wrote. So in this one, we're going to be referencing bulletin of the 7th of September 74, Word Clearing Series 54, Super Literacy and the Cleared Word, and 17th of July 79, Word Clearing Series of 64, The Misunderstood Word Defined. I'm not exactly sure what a BTB is. I'm sure we can figure that out later. But let's get started. In research concerning word clearing, study and training done with various groups over the recent past months, it has become all too obvious that a misunderstood word remains misunderstood and will later hang a person up unless he clears the meaning of the word in the context of the materials being read or studied, and also clears it in all of its various uses in general communication. When a word has several different definitions, one cannot limit his understanding of the word to one definition only and call the word understood. One must be able to understand the word when, at a later date, it is used in a different way. How to clear a word. To clear a word, one looks it up in a good dictionary. Dictionaries recommended are the Oxford English Dictionary or the Shorter Oxford Dictionary and Funk and Wagnall's Standard English Dictionary. The first step is to look rapidly over the definitions to find the one which applies to the context in which the word was misunderstood. One reads the definition and uses it in sentences until one has a clear concept of that meaning of the word. This could require 10 or more sentences. Then one clears each of the other definitions of that word, using each in sentences until one has a conceptual understanding of each definition. The next thing to do is to clear the derivation, which is the explanation of where the word originally came from. This will help gain a basic understanding of the word. Don't clear the technical or specialized definitions, such as math, biology, etc., or obsolete, no longer used, or archaic, ancient, and no longer in general use definitions unless the word is being used that way in the context where it was misunderstood. Okay, so the first thing you have to do, you have to find the definition that applies to you, makes sense, but the fact that you have to use it in sentences until you have a clear concept, usually the example sentence in a dictionary, if there is one, helps to clear it up. This could require 10 or more sentences. Can you imagine sitting there and going through each definition in the dictionary and coming up with about 10 sentences each just to try to understand them, and then going into the derivation of the word itself? Something that, I don't think anyone ever does. I'm sure you can understand why this can take up so much time in a student's coursework. I did just realize that I didn't change the zooming on this. Most dictionaries give the idioms of a word. An idiom is a phrase or expression whose meaning cannot be understood from the ordinary meanings of the words. For example, give in is an English idiom meaning yield. Quite a few words in English have idiomatic uses, and these are usually given in a dictionary after the definitions of the word itself. These idioms have to be cleared. One must also clear any other information given about the word, such as notes on its usage, synonyms, etc., so as to have a full understanding of the word. If one encounters a misunderstood word or symbol in the definition of a word being cleared, one must clear it right away using the same procedure and then return to the definition one was clearing. Dictionary symbols and abbreviations are usually given in the front of the dictionary. So now you start with definition 1. Okay, so yeah, here's a good example that they use. You're reading the sentence, he used to clean chimneys for a living, and you're not sure what chimneys means. You find it in the dictionary and look through the definitions for the one that applies. It says a flue for the smoke or gases from a fire. You're not sure what flue means, so you look that up. It says a channel or passage for smoke, air, or gases of combustion. That fits and makes sense, so you use it in some sentences until you have a clear concept of it. Flue in this dictionary has other definitions, each of which you would clear and use in sentences. Look up the derivation of the word flue. Now go back to chimney. The definition. A flue for the smoke or gases from a fire now makes sense, so you use it in sentences until you have a concept of it. You then clear the other definitions. One dictionary has an obsolete definition and a geological definition. You skip both of these as they aren't in common usage. Now clear up the derivation of the word. One finds in the derivation that it originally came from the Greek word kamenos, which means furnace. If the word had any synonym studies, usage notes, or idioms, they would all be cleared too. That would be the end of clearing chimney. That many steps just to clear the word chimney is fucking ridiculous. Can you imagine starting at one word, finding another word inside the definition that you don't understand, clearing up that, finding the definition for that word that applies, finding another one that doesn't apply? Can you imagine how many layers down in definitions and word clearing you may end up going if you happen to stumble upon the wrong pattern of words? This can take a maddeningly long amount of time. It's definitely not as efficient as it should be. I mean, not that it I don't know if I'd consider it that it should be efficient, but I don't think someone should need to spend that much time in a dictionary just to clear up one definition. I don't think you should have to clear up the other definitions of that word. It just doesn't, it wastes too much time. If you don't know the context of the word, as in word clearing methods 1, 5 when done from a list, 6 or 8, we're going to cover those later. You should start with the first definition and clear all definitions, derivation, idioms, etc. as covered above. Word chains. If you find yourself spending a lot of time clearing words within definitions of words, okay, so there's the thing I was talking about, you should get a simpler dictionary. A good dictionary will enable you to clear a word without having to look up a lot of other ones in the process. What if the dictionary that you're using is one of the ones that was recommended above? Now what happens? Cleared words. A cleared word is one which has been cleared to the point of full conceptual understanding by clearing each of the common meanings of that word, plus any technical or specialized meanings of that word that pertain to the subject being handled. That's what a cleared word is. It is a word that is understood. In metered word clearing using an e-meter, this would be accompanied by a floating needle and very good indicators. These are end phenomena of auditing or word clearing in this case. Basically supposedly showing that you understand what's going on and you understand it. There can be more than one floating needle per word. Clearing a word must end in a floating needle or very good indicators. Off the meter, this would be accompanied by very good indicators. The above is the way a word should be cleared. When words are understood, communication can take place, and with communication, any given subject can be understood. So we figured out L. Ron Hubbard's way to clear a word, which is by finding the definition in the dictionary, finding the one that applies, going through a few example sentences to understand it, and then going through the other definitions, even though they may be irrelevant to your current study term. But like I said earlier, the problem can be going too many definitions deep, I guess. Definition inception is the way that I think about it. So, we will cover word clearing methods. I should have it somewhere. Do I have I'm wondering if I do have it or if I don't have it. What is this? Study EN, I believe. Yep. All right. So this is the Technology of Study Handbook. I will cover this in a completely separate video all on its own. But this should have the word clearing methods in it. So I'm looking forward to that one because I actually own a physical copy of that little pamphlet booklet thing upstairs in my bedroom. So we're just going to dive into the next one. The Misunderstood Word Defined. Word Clearing Series number 64, 17th of July, 1979. Referencing Word Clearing Series 59RA, Clearing Words. That's the one we just read. 3R, Barriers to Study. That was in the first video. ESTO Series 35RB79, Word Clearing Series 60RB, Product Debug Series 7R, Misunderstood Words and Cycles of Action. That's another term to cover. Esto. I'm not completely sure what esto means. So let's dive. I believe it has to do with organizations. So that might be an admin thing. Let me look for the Executive Division, Basic Staff Hat Management Series. Admin Dictionary. Here we go. So let's see if we can find the word esto. Esto. Investor. Estos. Charter. Chief Officer. Esto. Restore. I think it's this one that doesn't have an actual table of contents to look through. Okay. Establishment Officer. The purpose of ESTOs is to establish and maintain the establishment of the org and each division therein. So it sounds like they kind of help to create the org and establish the divisions, obviously. And the term ESTO is used for this abbreviation. So it's from an establishment officer series. Misunderstood or not understood are terms used to define any error or omission in comprehension of a word, concept, symbol, or status. Most people go around thinking that a misunderstood is just something they obviously don't know, a not understood. A not understood is a misunderstood, but there are additional ways a person can misunderstand a word. A misunderstood word or symbol is defined as a word or symbol for which the student has 1. A false or totally wrong definition, a definition that has no relationship to the actual meaning of the word or symbol whatsoever. Example, the person reads or hears the word cat and thinks that cat means box. You can't get more wrong. It just makes me think of Schrodinger's cat for a minute. Example, a person sees an equal sign and thinks it means to subtract something twice. An invented definition. An invented definition is a version of a false definition. The person has made it up himself or has been given an invented definition, not knowing the actual definition he invents one for it. This is sometimes difficult to detect because he is certain he knows it. After all, he invented it himself. There's enough protest preceding his invention of it to make it read on a meter. In such a case, he will be certain he knows the definition of the word or symbol. The person, when very young, was always called a girl by his pals when he refused to do anything daring. He invents the definition of girl to be a cowardly person. Example, a person never knew the meaning of the symbol for an exclamation point, but seeing it in comic strips as representing swear words, invents the definition for it, a foul curse, and regards it accordingly in everything that he reads. An incorrect definition. A definition that is not right but may have some relationship to the word or symbol or be in a similar category. Example, the person reads or hears the word computer and thinks it's typewriter. This is an incorrect meaning for computer, even though a typewriter and a computer are both types of machines. A person thinks a period after an abbreviation means that you halt in reading at that point. An incomplete definition, a definition that's inadequate. Example, the person reads the word office and thinks it means room. The definition of the word office is a room or building in which a person transacts his business or carries on his stated occupation. The person's definition is incomplete for the word office. The person sees an apostrophe and knows that it means something is owned, but does not know that it also is used to show that a letter has been left out of the word. He sees the word can't and immediately tries to figure out who can is. An unsuitable definition. A definition that does not fit the word as it is used in the context of the sentence one has heard or read. Example, the person hears the sentence, I am dressing a turkey. The person's understanding of dressing is putting clothes on. That is one definition of dressing, but it's an unsuitable definition for the word as it is used in the sentence he has heard. Because he has an unsuitable definition, he thinks someone is putting clothes on a turkey. As a result, the sentence he has heard doesn't really make sense to him. The definition of dressing that correctly applies in the sentence he has heard is I think that's just a typo. To prepare for use as food by making ready to cook or by cooking. The person will only truly understand what he's hearing when he has fully cleared the word dressing in all its meanings, as he will then also have the definition that correctly applies in the context. Example, the person sees a dash in the sentence, I finished numbers 3 to 7 today. He thinks a dash is a minus sign, realizes you cannot subtract 7 from 3, and so cannot understand it. A homonymic definition. One word that has two or more distinctly separate meanings. A homonym is a word that is used to designate several different things which have totally different meanings, or a homonym can be one of two or more words that have the same sound, sometimes the same spelling, but differ in meaning. Example, the person reads the sentence, "I like to box." The person understands the sentence to mean that someone likes to put things in containers. The person has the right meaning for the word box, but he has the wrong word. There's another word box which is being used in the sentence he has just read and means to fight another in a boxing match. The person has a misunderstood because he has a homonymic definition for a word box and will have to clear the second word box before he understands the sentence. Example, the person sees a plus sign and as it resembles a cross, he thinks it is something religious. Example, the person hears the word period in the sentence. It was a disorderly period in history, and knowing that period comes at the end of a sentence and means stop, supposes that the world ended at that point. Homonymic misunderstoods can also occur when a person does not know the informal or slang usage of the word. The person hears someone on the radio singing, "When my honey walks down the street." The person thinks sweet, thick, sweet, yellow, or golden liquid, good to eat, that bees make out of the nectar they collect from flowers, is walking down the street. He doesn't know the informal definition of honey, which is sweet one, a pet name, which is how it is being used in the song. A substitute synonym. Holy shit, there's a lot here. 9, 10. Oh, fuck. Substitute definition. Synonym. A word which has a similar but not the same meaning. A substitute definition occurs when a person uses a synonym for the definition of a word. A synonym is not a definition. A synonym is a word having a meaning similar to that of another word. Example. The person reads the word portly and thinks the definition of the word is fat. Fat is a synonym for portly. The person has a misunderstood because the word portly means of a stately appearance and carriage, impressive, especially on account of size. The person does not have the full meaning of portly if he thinks it just means fat. Knowing synonyms for words increases your vocabulary, but it does not mean you understand the meaning of a word. Learn the full definition for a word as well as its synonyms. An omitted or missing definition. An omitted definition is a definition of a word that the person is missing or is omitted from the dictionary he's using. Example, the person hears the line, "The food here is too rich." The person knows two definitions for the word rich. He knows that rich means having much money, land, goods, etc., and wealthy people. None of these definitions make much sense to him in the sentence he's just learned. He cannot understand what food could have to do with having a lot of money. Omitted definitions can come about from using dinky dictionaries. If the person had looked up rich in a small paperback dictionary, he would probably still be stuck with his misunderstood. A dinky dictionary probably will not give him the definition he needs. In order to understand the word, he would have to get a good-sized dictionary to ensure it gives him the omitted definition, which is having in a high degree qualities pleasing to the senses, luscious to the taste, often implying an unwholesome excess of butter, fats, flavoring, etc. Example. The person reads, "He estimated the light at f5.6. He can't figure what this f is, so he looks up f in the American Heritage Dictionary and wonders if it's temperature or money or sports for foul or maybe the money franc. The text doesn't refer to France, so he can't figure it out. Omitted in the American Heritage is the photography definition of f, which simply means the number which shows the width of the hole the light goes through in the lens. The moral of this is to have enough dictionaries around. Note, it can occur that an accurate definition for a word is not given in any dictionary, which is an error in the language itself. Number 9, a no definition. A no definition is a not understood word or symbol. Example, the person reads a sentence, "The business produced no lucre." No understanding occurs as he has no definition for lucre. The word means money, especially as the object of greed or gain. It isn't that he has the word incorrectly, unsuitable, or any other way defined. He has no definition for it at all. He's never looked it up and gotten it defined, thus he does not understand it. The definition does not exist for him until he looks it up and gets it clearly understood. Example, the person sees a dot at the end of the word on a printed page and having no definition for a period tends to run all of his sentences together. A rejected definition. A rejected definition is a definition of a word which the person will not accept. The reasons why he will not accept it are usually based on emotional reactions connected with it. The person finds the definition degrading to himself or his friends or group in some imagined way or re-stimulative to him in some fashion. Although he may have a total misunderstood on the word, he may refuse to have it explained or look it up. Example, the person refuses to look up the word mathematics. He doesn't know what it means, he doesn't want to know what it means, and he won't have anything to do with it. A discussion of why he refuses to look it up discloses that he was expelled from school because he flunked with violence his first month in his first course of mathematics. If he were to realize that he flunked because he didn't know what he was supposed to study, he would then be willing to look the word up. Example, the person refuses to look up the definition of asterisk. On discussion, it turns out that every time he sees an asterisk on the page, he knows the material will be very hard to read and is literary difficult and highbrow. Discussion of why he won't look it up usually reveals and releases the emotional charge connected with it, which he may never have looked at before. Properly handled, he will now want to look it up, having gained an insight into why he wouldn't. Any word you come across which fits one or more of the above definitions of a misunderstood word or symbol must be cleared up using a good-sized dictionary or more than one dictionary or textbook or encyclopedia. It is catastrophic to go on past or ignore a misunderstood word or symbol, as one simply will not understand what he is studying. A student must discipline himself not to go past misunderstood words. He should learn to recognize from his reaction to what he's reading, especially the mental blankness which usually ensues right after one, that he's gone by a misunderstood. He should look them up and get them fully defined before going on with his reading. Students must be persuaded to do this. It's a self-discipline that has to be learned. The definitions of misunderstood and not understood, and their different types, must be clearly understood by a person seeking to clear them in himself and others. The commonest error in word clearing is for the person being word cleared to believe that a misunderstood is something he simply does not know. With this limited definition, he cannot adequately be word cleared, nor can he adequately word clear others. So these definitions of misunderstood and not understood should be very well known, as it will often be necessary to clarify them to the person being word cleared. Good reading, L. Ron Hubbard. Just out of curiosity, let's see how long dictionaries is. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, there's like 7 pages here. Alright. I think we're going to end it off on the beginning of dictionaries. Thank you guys for watching this. I know, again, this is going to take a while. But I do look forward to putting out that video on the Technology of Study Handbook. I think you're actually going to like that part, especially seeing what it's like to study, not just how to study. If you like the video, comment if you want to give any kind of feedback or anything like that. Or subscribe if you're interested in seeing more content when it comes out. I will talk to you guys later. See ya.